the biggest banking bailout that you're not hearing about. I was talking about this, gosh, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Um, the biggest banking bailout's been 0% interest rates. This has been theft. This has been theft on the working and middle class, and no one talks about it. So it's been and we and the fact is that we're still recovering from the financial crisis. There's no doubt about that. And think about it. Nobody went to jail for the fraud in the financial crisis, and nobody was even investigated. No one was even investigated. Think about that. It's pretty disgusting. Everybody understand the risks of these companies, these variable interest entities. Every Chinese company that's listed on the U.S. exchanges is listed by a variable interest entity. You don't own the shares. You own some shell company, which is linked to the main company in China through contractual agreements, which do not hold up in Chinese Supreme Court. This has already been shown. Does everybody understand that? Right? Everyone understand what I'm saying? Now, there are some Chinese companies, by the way, that are accessible and very well known that you may see if you're in the U.S. Tencent, right? Tencent, I believe Tencent is not a VIE. I believe Tencent is over the counter, right? I think it's over the counter. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. The problem is that, first of all, well, all Chinese securities there's a problem with because, first of all, you're dealing with potentially a Cold War situation, right? Second of all, you're dealing with national security issues. So even if a company is not in a variable interest entity, Chinese securities you don't want to be messing with. Okay, there's a saying I tell people, I tell my subscribers is that you always want to follow a lot of different companies, and the reason why you want to is because you want to be able to spot really good opportunities, right? You want to spot good opportunities. If you're following 3 or 4 companies, or 5 or 6 or even 10, how do you know when it's a good opportunity? You need to follow a lot of companies because it's all about perspective, right? So people who are thinking that it's a good opportunity to buy Chinese stocks, either they don't follow enough companies to understand that there are much better risk adjusted opportunities out there, or they just don't even understand anything about what I just said. And I think maybe a lot of people, it's the latter, right? They don't understand. Funny thing about risk is people don't typically understand risk until they've lost money, right? Just like, for instance, people think, oh, you know, I want Peloton. It keeps going higher. Yeah, I want it. It's great. It's going to be a great company. It's worth. And then what happens is that once the stock starts to collapse, it hits a free fall, and then you're looking at like you don't even know what it's worth anymore. You're bewildered. You become disoriented. This is what happens. This is what's happening now. It's happened last year. It's happened. It's going to continue to happen. This is not over, folks. It's not over. I can assure you. But so think about, what's going on in the markets. Do you think it's a good risk to buy Alibaba and other Chinese companies listed in the US? I mean, can you imagine Charlie Munger bought it at like what, 180, 200? He's buying more and more, and he's coming out and telling everybody. I don't care if it turns out to be a 10 bagger. It's a stupid move. You have to adjust it with risk, right? It's not a smart move. And for Charlie Munger to do that, he's basically trying to pump it. He's basically trying to get people to buy it and pump the price up and support him. What a loser. All right, here we go. So Alibaba. Now, when this was reported, Alibaba's market cap in the U.S. was 614 billion. What is it now? Like 250? This was just a little over a year ago. This, I mean, this was like 13 months ago, right? Take a look. Take a look at this. What's the market cap of Alibaba now? This was May 5th, 2021. Okay. So here, these are the companies that are Chinese companies listed on the U.S. exchanges, subject to delisting. Now, some have already been delisted, by the way, right? Some have been delisted already. So ask yourself the question, and it's funny because, of course, no one talks about risk ever. They don't want to talk about risk. The media doesn't talk about ever. Folks, if you don't have a good handle on risk, most people should just buy the S&P and forget about it. Imagine if you buy the S&P. First of all, your chances are very low that you're going to outperform the S&P. Now, there's other arguments aside from outperformance of the S&P that I could make. I'm not going to get into those. But imagine you just said, you know what? Life is short. I'm going to invest in the S&P. I'm not going to pay attention to no drama. I'm not going to watch any of these gurus on YouTube show me how to blow up. I'm not going to watch the financial media. All that time we'd be spending listening to the financial media, reading the financial media, watching the financial media, watching clowns on YouTube, doing research myself, trying to learn, reading books, all that time. How many hours over your lifetime? 10,000, 100,000 hours? How much are you going to spend of your life doing that? Is it worth it? Ask yourself that question. What else could you be doing with your life? I mean, I'm not asking you to not invest. I'm just saying, hey, why not invest in the S&P 500 delivers 9%, 8%, 10%, whatever you want to call it, annually over time every year. Think about that decision. What you could do with your life. Instead, most people are wasting their life and they're going to lose a huge money listening to idiots. Think about that, right? I could be here showing you my track record, which is the best in the world, showing you how I predicted the bottom of the coronavirus collapse or the bottom of the financial crisis and everything else. I could show you my whole track record. Guys, invest with me. I'm the guy. I'm going to make you rich. I'm the big guy. Nobody can beat my track record. Fact, I'll show you. Boom, boom, boom. I could do that. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you guys, the vast majority of you people are better off just investing in an index. S&P index is probably the best if you're in the US, or maybe if you're not even in the US, probably the best. And go on with your life. Maybe the only thing you might want to do is educate other people about all these scammers, including the financial media, including YouTube, right? Warn your friends. Make a YouTube channel telling people. And don't be a fake. Don't say you're going to be investing in the S&P 500 and kind of like pull a bait and switch and then start talking about how you're buying these stocks and this stocks. My word's not going to get anywhere. It's only going to get somewhere if other people understand that and spread it as well. Grant Cardone is an obvious scammer, okay? The guy's an obvious scammer, but I thought he was bad, honestly. In perspective, like in comparison to these guys, these other guys on YouTube, Grant Cardone's probably not as bad because Grant Cardone does have a I'll say somewhat legitimate business. He's deceiving people, which that's marketing, deception, and fraud. He's involved in he's deceiving people, but he does have a legitimate business. He's charging insane prices, fees, which people aren't aware of. But the fact is that he does disclose that in his documents. I think Grant Cardone is more guilty of deceptive marketing practices, which is illegal. And until enough people file complaints with the Federal Trade Commission or the State Attorney General of California, nothing's going to happen to him, most likely. That's what has to happen. You see, if you file enough complaints with the Federal Trade Commission and the State Attorney General from the jurisdiction where the business operates, that will cause an investigation and potential major lawsuit. That's the risk that you get if you have a lot of people, a lot of reach. A con artist, a parasite needs prey. They need victims. Without victims, they die. You see? The more victims they have, the more powerful they become, the more they eat and feed. And the reality is that the vast majority of these guys aren't even taking their own financial advice. They're not even investing. And if they're doing so, they're doing pennies. They're doing it by pennies. I showed that, matter of fact, a recent video with Tom Nash, how he gives us a big analysis of Amazon, tells you it's 70% undervalued, which that alone's fraud. Yeah. So everybody in the world, the big experts, they missed it, but Tom Nash, he got it. Amazon's 70% undervalued. I mean, come on, the guy's a clown. But you'll notice in that video, he said, I already bought a little nibble, a few shares, about $1,000. And then he called and says, "Oh, maybe I bought. You remember that? Like Amazon's selling for $3,000. He said he bought $1,000 worth. Obviously, he didn't buy any. He's a liar. It's clear. It's obvious. These people are liars, man. They have different strategies. Some of these guys are pumping shit. They're just throwing shit out there. They're trying to prey on people, and they're actually their enemy. These guys that come out every day, the stocks to buy today, the hot stocks, these people are poison. They're poison. I'm telling you. Then you have the lower key scammers who are just pumping out bullshit content that's low yield and a waste of your life, and they're doing it to get clicks. They get to pump their links, their affiliate links. And then you have the guys who are actually, I believe there's people who are working with undercover, like guys in the background, to pump certain stocks. I've seen a couple of people I think are doing that, who are pumping micro caps, and that's a huge problem for them because they can get in deep trouble for that. There's all look. The bottom line is this. I'm just telling you, from what I've seen on YouTube, everybody in talking about business and investment is a scammer. That's from my perspective and my opinion. Okay. I just can't even believe it's a sucker's world, though. It's easy money. You have stupid people, a bunch of idiots, a bunch of stupid people, people that believe Robert Kiyosaki is legitimate. I'll guarantee you the vast majority of these stock fraudsters on YouTube, their mentor is Robert Kiyosaki and or Tony Robbins. Right? Because these guys, they're internet marketers is what they are. They're scammy people. They're scummy people. They don't want to get out and do an honest day's work. They want to take advantage of people. But at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. These people who are falling for this, you can't have sympathy for them. Because honestly, they're just, how do I know? Because there are people who know that these people are scammers. How do they know? Because they have common sense. Look, Meet Kevin is a huge fraud. Obviously, you didn't watch the videos I did on it. Meet Kevin is a huge fraud. He's a liar, and he should be investigated by the state of California for campaign financing fraud, by the way. With his AMC campaign, you can't do that, right? He defrauded people. He's calling himself a financial analyst. He made a video in 2020 where he says he doesn't understand stocks. Don't expect him to ever make a course. The guy is a scam artist to the highest degree, without a doubt. Kevin watches my video. All these guys, they won't confront me on a neutral platform because they come on. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you've got you have financial professionals that are afraid of me. They won't confront me. Jim Rogers won't confront me. Peter Schiff, these guys, because they're pulling the same thing to some degree, although at least they've been in the financial industry. I mean, these are people who at least have worked in the financial industry, so they're full of shit. Some of these guys, they sell financial products. You know, their products may be shit, but at least when you put it into perspective, at least these guys, they're in the financial industry. They've worked in the financial industry. They have a financial business. It's kind of like going back to Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is an extreme BS artist. He's engaged in all types of marketing deception, misleading marketing, which is against the law, by the way. But he does have a legitimate business, right? Some of these guys, the professionals in the financial industry, they have a legitimate business. Doesn't mean that they're completely honest. It doesn't mean that they're not conning people, right? But when you're talking about people on YouTube, this is like the most disgusting thing. They're not qualified to be giving advice, to be talking about these things, and to have it linked to money. That's disgusting to me. It's inexcusable. Graham Stephan is he's backed off, but he did a fake it till you make it, which is illegal. It's fraud. You can't do that. But he's not. But his strategy now is a little more. He's not directly coming out, but you don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. So what he's doing now is just kind of like just pitching shit out there, and so he's not as bad as guys like Meet Kevin, and Tom Nash is the worst because Tom Nash comes out and says, "Oh yeah, I'm a Wall Street senior analyst. I was, and this and that, and follow me." Now, I don't believe a word out of his. I don't even think he went to business school. If he did, he didn't make good grades, and he certainly didn't get an MBA. There's no way. I'm telling you, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's completely clueless. He's an internet marketer based out of Israel, which is why he's always teamed up with Israeli-based companies, Seeking Alpha, which is a huge boiler room scam, Tip Ranks, another scam based out of Israel, and Benzinga, another scam funded by Israeli investors. And I know this guy, the owner, Rasnick, he's a scumbag because this guy allowed copyright infringement of my articles several times, and I told this guy. These are companies, by the way. Tip Ranks is newer, okay? Seeking Alpha and Benzinga, I don't know if you all know this, but the SEC fined them, or they didn't fine them. These companies were manipulating stocks. Authors got in trouble for securities fraud. But you see, the way it works with the media, because we know who runs the media, right? And we know who makes the laws, the legal system, same guys who run the media. Media companies aren't liable for these guys who publish securities manipulation on their website. Think about that one. Sounds to me like, if you want to open a criminal organization, just get in the media. You're not liable, right? Those laws need to change. If you don't believe me about Seeking Alpha and Benzinga, you can just look it up. SEC caught them a few years ago. And of course, once again, these companies are operating out of Israel, which is scam center, by the way. Scam center. Graham Graham began dishonestly. And now that he's got a lot of subscribers, he's just gaming the algorithm. So he's basically putting anything up there. And Graham's channel, Iced Coffee, as I mentioned, it's become a scam portal. He just promotes scam artists. That's all he does. Why don't you ask Graham why he doesn't want to interview one of the very top investment experts in the world? You understand? So honestly, you need to see Graham for what he really is. Okay? You need to understand what he really is. Remember, folks, actions speak louder than words. Take a look at Graham's channel and tell me you can find, well, now he's putting somebody, I think he's watched my video, so he's putting some people on there who aren't really scam artists. I saw him put that Matt Stoney eater, binge eater guy or whatever, competitive eater guy, right? Before that, tell me there's not a scam. Tell me there's not a. He even promoted Timothy Sykes on his channel. Unbelievable. I mean, when's Robert Kiyosaki? When's he going to have Tony Robbins? Let me get back to the. So, you notice like this Hormozy, he's like trying to brand himself all over the internet. The $100 million man, $100 million. I mean, did you see in the video he made 3 years ago of the humble brag? he's like some kid. Hey guys, this is a humble brag here, and like, of course, I don't think any of that's true, but I mean, it's like buying puts on Alex Hormozy I don't know if that's a smart idea. The problem is because you have so many stupid people out there that just fall for anything, and you don't have enough people out there like me who are calling these people out, that I don't think people are going to see he's a scammer. Part of the problem today is this whole culture that's been established of, oh, be positive, don't be negative, you're a hater. And what that's doing is it's promoting a scam society. You can't criticize anyone or call anyone out. Oh, you're negative. I don't like negative people. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, just be a scammer, and everyone's going to love you because you smile and you're a nice guy. Hello, I'm a nice guy. It's really sad. And, honestly, I believe indirectly part of this problem has been the exportation for decades, for more than 2 decades. I would say, easily 2.5 decades of millions of jobs from the West to Southeast Asia and Latin America, which, of course, the media doesn't talk about this. Go to Southeast Asia, go to Asia and see. Specifically go to Southeast Asia, okay? Southeast Asia, the tropics, where they're less advanced. Go there. Go to Thailand. Thailand is not an advanced country at all. Thailand's never going to be an advanced country. I'll guarantee you that. I'll bet any amount of money on that, and I'll give you 1,000,000 to 1 odds. Has anyone ever given those high of odds? How do I know this? That's a whole nother discussion. Believe me, I know Thailand very well. I lived there for several years. Thailand is kind of a mafia. They will never let anybody get ahead there. Okay. If Thailand's lucky, it's going to stay in the middle income trap. I don't even know if it's going to stay in the middle income trap. But what I'm saying is that given that, go to Thailand and you're going to see malls that are so much nicer than you see in the US. You're going to see really nice things. We're talking about new money, folks. Go to Saigon. Saigon is maybe 2 steps above Cambodia in terms of its infrastructure and development. Okay. And you're talking about, I mean, there's rats the size of squirrels all over the place. In fairness, they don't want to kill them. I don't know what's going on over there, but my point is that I've never seen more Maybachs in my life than I've seen in Saigon. They're all over the place. Like, they're all over the place. So where's all this money coming from? If you want to see all the new money, go to Asia. Okay? And I'm not even talking about Japan. I'm talking about China. I'm talking about Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, soon to be Indonesia. Where's this money coming from? It's come primarily from American middle class and working class, and more recently and increasingly, European working class and middle class. This is the reality that people aren't talking about. I wrote about this. I wrote about this, folks, 15 years ago. They don't want people to know this. I got banned for that reason. This is the reality. America has given the world riches. And why did America do that? Did they ask your approval? Did they ask if they could send what would have been your job working a good job at General Motors with great benefits? Did they ask you because your dad works there? Easy for you to get a job there. Did they ask you if it was okay to send that job to China? No, they didn't ask, did they? Folks, this is why you got people wanting to become YouTubers and other useless garbage, and people who are forced to become Uber drivers and then they get exploited by Uber. This is why you have America has become a scam nation. The opportunities have faded massively. And all this is gradually impacting Europe because Wall Street took over Europe. Wall Street invaded Europe at the turn of the century. Okay. I remember exactly when all this happened. When the dot-com blew up in America, Wall Street focused their sights on Europe. Soon after that, you could get mortgages in Europe. My view is this. I'll bet, okay, all people on YouTube talking about investments, they're scammers. That's my view. Maybe I could be wrong. There might be one or two, but it's also a matter of how you define scammer. What I consider people who are pumping out just a bunch of bullshit to get clicks to pump their affiliate. Is that honest? Is that valid? No, it's not valid. That's advertisement fraud, right? If you're not qualified to talk about these issues, okay, you can talk about them, but talk about them at home. Talk about them in Starbucks. You don't go on a worldwide platform and tag your content to ads. I mean, you notice everyone every day's got a new idea. The 5 top stocks to buy. Do you understand that I issue research for each of the publications once per month? Because that's how you cultivate real investors. You don't have them knee jerking every fucking day. These people are causing the sucker followers to lose their ass. They're claiming they don't trade and they're getting to try to trade. I'm the guy that's worked as a financial advisor on Wall Street. I'm the guy that's advised multi-billion-dollar funds. I think I know what's going on and what people should be doing. Right? So, to some extent, these people that are going to blow themselves up, they have themselves to blame. But to a large extent, it's the problem with YouTube, which has become the world's largest portal of scams and scam artists. And it's shocking how nobody has come out. I'm just doing this, spur of the moment. I mean, I just got through doing a webinar, the monthly research webinar. I've just decided to pull this up and to talk about it. I mean, if I had prepared for this, I could give a really nice, polished presentation, very efficient. How come nobody's done this? Ask yourself that question, and then you'll understand you can't trust people out there. You can't trust the financial media. Do you think you can trust people on YouTube? Are you kidding me? Folks, if you're going to listen to people on YouTube, your life is going to be a failure. I can guarantee you that. Now, the problem is that most people who tune into YouTube are depressed, lonely, or insecure, looking for something. And I'm telling you, the worst place you can find valuable information is YouTube. Now, there's some good stuff on YouTube, but it's not associated with money, business, investments, things of that nature. That stuff is there to hook you. Okay? If you want to watch a documentary, although some of these guys who make documentaries, their stuff is not accurate. I can tell you that. I've seen it. Some of the big channels. You want to watch National Geographic? Okay, fine. You want to watch, but when you're talking about stuff like this investments, business. These guys are all scammers. They're out to scam you. Okay. Now, you can think what you want, but I'm the guy that worked in venture capital. I'm the guy that worked on Wall Street. I'm not the guy who makes a promo video talking about how I went to University of Michigan and I worked on Wall Street. Look at my shirt. I Who makes a promo video? Like, you're obviously the guy. Obviously, the guy's trying to lie. He's trying to pretend like he's somebody. When you're going out of your way to make a promo video, like everyone that comes across you sees this promo video of how you came from Russia. We're talking about Tom Nash, of course. I went to the University of Michigan and I got an MBA, and he shows like stupid pictures, like nothing which proves that he went anywhere to school. I went to an Ivy League university. I don't have a promo video talking about that. And I didn't study something simple like business. I studied physics and chemistry. Okay. And I made a name for myself big time on Wall Street because I'm a big swinging dick because I did a lot of stuff and I'm fucking good. I don't have promo videos talking about that stuff. You know why? Because I deliver results. People who are hooked, people who are sucked into garbage, to nonsense, these are the same people who are sucked into Tai Lopez. All these people on YouTube, they just have a different version of the Tai Lopez marketing scam. And that's what you got to understand, folks. Okay? You got to understand that. I'm telling you. So everybody understand the whole issue with the Chinese stocks listed on the US exchanges and why it's such a risky situation and a dangerous situation. Let me just say something about making quote predictions. Okay. A prediction is what someone makes who has a crystal ball and they're psychic. A forecast is what a real expert makes. When you make a forecast, it's not making a blog post or going online and talking about a market crash. If you're talking about a major crash, I want to see a very detailed piece, a very long, detail oriented, data field argument as to why it's going to happen. Right? That's what I want to see. Otherwise, anybody can flap their jaws. Okay? Anybody can flap their jaws. But anyway, I mean, honestly, I truly hope the market goes to zero to wipe out all of these goons, all these frauds, and all these kids that think they can make easy money. I want the market to be cleaned out of shit. Just like I don't cover stocks that are highly manipulated by the media. Do you know why? Because I want to use my investment merit, my own skill to identify good securities. And when the stocks are manipulated, it undermines my value that I can add. You see, because the stocks they're not behaving realistically. So I want all the trash to be cleared out of the market for us serious investors, credible, serious investors who invest. Yeah, look, you can make a trade here once in a while, here and there, a little speculation, never killed anybody. As long as you understand that's what it is and that's not investing, right? Um, but there needs to be a major clear out of the stock market. And I have to believe that Cathie Wood, Elon Musk, and this shaman Palepatia or whatever this guy's name is, and many other people are going to be remembered as poster children of this period. Pumpers, scammers, manipulators, right? I have to believe that's going to happen at some point. I don't know about Tasty Trade. It just sounds like a stupid name. I think I've seen some fat dude on there. Just looking at the guys. I mean, first of all, Tasty Trade. That means they promote trading. Anyone that promotes trading is not legitimate. Okay, write that down. And by the way, let me mention one thing. I'm going to have to watch this video at some point. But I remember seeing this. I remember seeing this a long time ago when Patrick Boyle went on this kid's CoffeeZilla show and supposedly exposed the trading gurus. And I remember watching that video a couple of years ago, thinking to myself that Patrick Boyle was not legitimate. Why? He didn't call out the traders. He didn't say that. He didn't speak the truth. And then why didn't he? Now I know why he didn't. And I'll tell you the truth here in a second. Because Patrick Boyle apparently had some small time hedge fund that was just basically just like trading futures, trading, which is why he doesn't have a rat's ass clue as to what's really going on in the market on a current manner. Anybody can dissect what's already happened. Oh, what happens to assets from Russia that are sanctioned? Oh, what happened? What's the SWIFT system? Look at his videos. The guy's a clown. I mean, uh, if he were honest and knew what was going on, he'd say, look, anyone who's promoting trading is a scammer. Okay? Is a scammer. You cannot trade professionally. You can't sustain that. The only way it's remotely possible is if you're very knowledgeable and experienced and you have enough money so that you can, number one, you have the skill to identify when there's periods that are better for trading and the stocks that are better for trading, higher probability trades, right? Number two, you have the capital so that you're not forced to trade every day. If you have those two attributes, then you can trade professionally. You have the chance possibly to do it. Okay? But if you think that you can start out trading and that's your that you're going to do that to make money and that's no, you're going to blow up eventually. Everyone's a great trader in a bull market, okay? So trading doesn't work. And another reason why you might want to watch the video I did. I actually made a video and discussed why people who promote trading are scammers. Watch the video. The reason why is because think about it for a second. If you're trading any securities, then you're working on what? What are you relying on? What's the most important thing if you're short-term trading? Anybody? Options trading is not investing, okay? And I would only consider options trading as a kind of a corollary and auxiliary to managing an investment portfolio. Options trading, I can tell you right now, legally, generally speaking, depending upon the types of options trading, is considered gambling by the Securities and Exchange Commission and by FINRA. Okay. Now, there are, if you want to trade covered calls, if you're selling covered calls and you want to trade out of those covered calls, that's not considered gambling. But if you're trading certain types of options, you're just doing that alone, sorry, that's not investing. It's not investing. People who are promoting trading, I'm sorry, I just you can think what you want, but I'm the guy that worked on Wall Street and I'm the guy that's been in this business for longer than most of you have been alive. Okay? I'm just telling you the fact. Promoting of trading. Now, I'm not saying that doing a little trading here and there, that's okay. Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes it's good to do that. I do it. But if you're talking about trading in terms of how people typically do it, what do they do? They look at the hot stocks, the list of high momentum stocks. If you're going day to day, new stocks versus active management, which is what I preach. Active management means you pick certain stocks that you want to invest in. But say some of those stocks, for whatever reason, you think that there's a good chance they're going to sell off. You take your profits and you wait and you buy them back. You're constantly lowering the cost basis of those stocks that you're dedicated, you're committed to. That's active management. But if you're trading on a daily basis, whereby you're looking at the hot trade of the day, that's going to go nowhere eventually. Okay, 99.99% of the time. So, I don't know about Tasty Trades. I haven't looked at their stuff. I'm not going to say. I'm just saying, generally speaking, if you're promoting trading, that's not a good thing, and it's especially bad thing when you're talking about reaching out to YouTube. Okay, and think about, don't they have a brokerage, right? Don't they make money off of trading volume? Wink, wink, right? You understand? So, you know, so I'm not gonna specifically say anything about them. I don't know them, so and I haven't seen them really or heard them, so I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just saying, generally speaking, if someone's promoting pure trading, it's not good.